Hi, this is Marion Douglas, and welcome to video 2 of Success in the Spirit. And I left off talking about the ego and how well developed the ego is relative to how well developed our spirit is over the same period of time. That period of time when we're in the developing years and we're growing up and all those kinds of things. So by the time we come to being adults, our ego is a very well developed and very powerful force in our life. Now, here's the thing: when we start talking about spiritual readings and people or attitudes, and in business we talk about that a lot. In sports, they talk about it a lot. Is how people can develop attitude and develop character that is consistent with having a successful life. In my mind and in my experience, my ego is not that entity, that part of me that is consistent with that. My ego is in opposition to it. And so that's the reason why when we start talking about supporting people and listening to tapes and books and hanging around with the right people and all that kind of stuff, is that when that's going on, then a philosophy, a belief system is being introduced to you that is consistent with how your spirit operates. Okay, and so some of the difficulty that people have in dealing with that is that the opposing philosophy, the opposing conditioning is so strong, because there are so many people who believe in it, that when you're standing out there and you're trying to be in the spirit in your life and take some of these things that we're talking about attitude and perspective and beliefs, that when you take that and try to use that to operate in the world, not only is your ego in opposition to it, but most of the world is in opposition to it too. And if you guys want to really see an example of that, watch the movie Revolutionary Road. Man, I saw that and I just, oh God. But it was a really clear example of the pressure that society puts on you to be mediocre and mundane and live within the boundaries of this conditioning that you're brought up in. And any thought that seems to be outside of that, opposed to that, is immediately jumped on by the masses, and the attempt is to work that out of you, get you to change your mind. There's many people that even think that you're crazy, that you would even have an idea and pursue an idea like what you're talking about, if it's not aligned with what the masses are up to. And that's the reason why you get the statistical results that we get from the government, where 2% or so of the people in the country end up wealthy and the other 98% end up broke. Is because the other 98% are following the conditioning that they were brought up in. And they do nothing, or I wouldn't say they do nothing, but they end up being so secure in the belief of the world's perspective, the societal conditioning, that they can't break away from it to live in their own spirit and allow the creativity and the power of their spirit to operate in the world on their behalf. They just don't do it. Okay? So that's the reason why we're always saying there's plenty of room at the top, because the overwhelming majority of the people will never break out of that conditioning. They always have the possibility to. There's lots of information around that will support it. There's business systems, there's coaches, but you know the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And unfortunately, the student when it comes to building a wealth of life that includes the financial independence, most people are not ready. The good news is that you're the one that decides whether you're ready or not. Whether you're ready for the kind of coaching and you're ready for the kind of people and mentors to come into your life and the kind of information that comes into your life that will not only support you living a wealth-filled life that includes income, but that these people are experienced and they're doing it, and they understand from experience where the battle really was. And for them, at least in my experience, that battle has been between me and other guy. And to the degree that I was able to defeat and overcome the conversation that I have with myself, my ego self, my direction and my creativity and my power came up immensely. And how I showed up in the world and showed up in my own life became something much, much different and greater. So these are the possibilities that you have also. What is it going to take? On one end, it's going to take hanging around with the people who understand that, reading the books that they read, listening to the tapes that they listen to. That's on one hand. On the other hand, it's going to take detaching yourself from all that conditioning that is the world's perspective that your ego is conditioned with. And that's really some of the hard part, because people are so attached to that as being the truth and the way that it is, that they have a hard time just letting go. You know, if you have people, you probably experienced people in your life that have had something bad happen 10 years ago, and then today they're still hanging on to the pain of that. And so this conditioning is something similar to that. And you get taught to hang on to stuff too. That's all part of the conditioning we're talking about. So for me, I don't hang on to anything. When it's over, whatever lessons there are to learn that's going to support my life and moving forward, I take that and I leave the rest of it where it was, in yesterday or last year or wherever it is. Because living in that will not support me in creating value in the moment that I'm in right now. It just won't do it. Never seen it, haven't experienced it. So there it is in a nutshell. There's more to it than what I'm saying on this video, but at least this opens up the conversation for you. And I've given you some reference where you can actually start to make this clear in your own mind and start this journey into the spirit and start allowing yourself to show up in your own life in the spirit of creativity, in the spirit of love, in the spirit of togetherness, unity, and all those things that make life a wonderful experience. And out of that, if you believe anything about the power of attraction, if you're living in the spirit and there's any truth to the power of attraction at all, then you're going to attract love and creativity and abundance, because in your spirit, that is all that it knows, and that is all that it is up to. So this is Marion Douglas. I'm signing off on this one, and you guys be good to yourselves. You're in for a little bit of a fight for most of you. Don't be afraid. You will win.